Good afternoon. Welcome to the tea table. This is the most special tea table today. It's Happy Easter, and I'm holding a basket. That is my Easter basket that I received as a gift from a dear friend for my birthday. And I realized after I received this special basket with a present inside, it's a gold basket, and I've given hundreds of Easter baskets to all my children and grandchildren, and I didn't even realize I haven't had an Easter basket for years. I can't remember when I was very little. I remember getting Easter baskets on Easter morning. This is so special, and I thought I have to bring this to the tea table. And I know many of you are getting ready for Easter. It has so many facets, but the Easter basket is very important, especially to little people. Yes, we cannot forget. Well, should I open this basket? It is so fun. I'm going to open it. I love the color. It's the iridescent and the aqua. And look what's inside. A beautiful gift wrapped in aqua polka dots, and it's a gold basket. Isn't it gorgeous? So I had to share that today with all of you. And it's a good reminder to start making those baskets for the special people in our lives. And as an adult, I didn't realize how special it is to receive that. Yes. Well, I am wearing yellow, and I have a black purse today, black patent shoes, which I can't show you, but I am wearing a special hat. This hat is vintage. It is my mother's hat, and my mother, beloved mother, went to be with the Lord in 2004. So she would have worn this many years ago, and I just treasure it, and I thought I want to wear it in her memory and all the beautiful mothers and grandmothers that are getting ready for Easter. Yes. I'm playing the St. Matthew's Passion as I promised I would, and this is Leonard Bernstein, the great Leonard Bernstein, conducting. And if you want to hear a fabulous lecture, go online, Leonard Bernstein, St. Matthew's Passion Lecture, Johann Sebastian Bach, and he explains it in the most beautiful way. I heard this probably 20 years ago, and it opened up a whole new world of understanding for me. Well, Easter wouldn't be Easter without hat and gloves. So I've chosen some little black lace gloves. They're extremely comfortable. And I think I'll just let my purse sit there for now. Well, I guess I can put it down here. Before we get to our tea, you're wondering, what is this? Well, this is very special. It still has the tag on, because this is symbolizing the little people, and I got this for my granddaughter Cambria because her color is yellow. She's blonde, and she loves yellow and looks so darling in yellow, and I put this on. This is my other little present to Cambria. Isn't it absolutely adorable? It's a little old-fashioned yellow coat dress. And underneath is a little dress. that has yellow and white daisies. Isn't that sweet? I want you to be able to see the daisies. Isn't it adorable? 3T. She's not quite 2, but she's ready for this. So there it is. I thought we'll just get ready for Easter together because we're on Maundy, Thursday today. I always try to do my tea talk on Thursday, if you haven't noticed, and I try to upload it by Friday morning at the latest. So, well, and I decided I'll wear yellow too, and I have a little yellow. I'll try to pick this up on the tea table. See, a little yellow cloth and with purple. Isn't that beautiful? I love yellow. I love yellow, and I've got little yellow daisy earrings that will match Cambria's dress. I love yellow and white and daisies. So, if you haven't gotten your tea yet, please get your tea, and I will be waiting for you. And for those of you who really don't know what St. Matthew's Passion means, it's exactly what it says. Bach took the Passion of Christ, all of the ins and outs, and he put it to music and called it St. Matthew's Passion. Now, in the there are 4 Gospels in the New Testament. The New Testament starts with the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. These are 4 disciples that wrote the story because they were with Christ. And so they tell the story of what happened, his birth and his life, and then his death and resurrection. So each one is slightly different, and he also wrote the St. John's Passion. And that starts actually with John the Baptist saying, or he talks about John the Baptist, and it's John is unique. Now, the Gospels are very famous, and sometimes you've heard that, but now you know there are 4. It's always fun to learn a little bit more. Most of you know that, but some of you don't. And I've learned in my teaching, one of the most profound things I have learned is people do not want to appear that they do not know something. So they will pretend like they know. And the only way we can actually learn something new is to ask a question, right? And so don't ever be afraid to ask a question. I'm constantly learning new things. I'm learning new things every day, and you are too. And that's how it should be. There's so much to know, we can never know it all. And actually, the more we know, the more we realize we don't know. Isn't that true? That's a good sign. That shows that you are actually really becoming a student and a scholar. Suddenly you realize, whoa, there is so much out there. This especially happens in history, because if you think about what we go through in 1 week, say in America, now when you study a man in history, they'll just put his name in 4 paragraphs at the most. And that's barely scratching the surface of his life, right? So there's always new jewels to discover. Now, I have something else to show you that is very, very special. Another dear friend brought me these beautiful camellias, gave me these as part of my birthday gift, and I absolutely love camellias. I used to live in a house that had a bush. I don't have a bush now. These are the first beautiful, hardy, wonderful flowers. Yes, I love them. Then my son came on my birthday because we're kind of celebrating birthday Easter, because I do not believe I've ever had a Palm Sunday birthday before. Usually Easter is late April, not March. So this vase, my son brought this by, and it was from all my kids last Saturday morning, and they are just keeping so nicely. I just love this bouquet. So nice to have flowers, fresh flowers in the house. And these are just all of these flowers. I think if you locate them in part of the room where the heat is not hitting, they will last. So we'll put these right here and display them. And I've got little Ducky. He's still here too. Let's put the flowers in front, and maybe little Ducky, well, isn't he cute? We'll let him go down too for a little while. Let him take a little rest. That little Ducky is going to have a lot of fun things in it, I know. So, if you haven't gotten your tea yet, please get your tea, and I will be waiting for you. And this is one of the most beautiful tea sets that I own, and I wanted to use it for Easter. It's Austrian German. Isn't it just lovely? And it's the creamer, sugar, and teapot, but there's no cup and saucer. And I thought, what do I use? And I went in my cupboard and I found one of my favorite. It's called the White Cliffs of Dover. There it is, the White Cliffs of Dover. Isn't that beautiful? And it's got trees. Let me try to hold it up. That's the scene. Isn't that just spectacular? I believe this is a very old Royal Albert. They did a lot of scenes of Britain. And when you look at it from a distance, it looks like a mountain, because we have these mountains where we live. But it's the White Cliffs of Dover. So, oh, and one other thing I have. My friend who gave me the lovely Easter basket, it had these on it. And I brought them home, put them in water. Whoops. Oh boy, it just fell. It's called the Lenten rose, the earliest rose. It's in the buttercup family, but it blooms during Lent before the actual roses bloom. Isn't it beautiful? So it's called the Lenten rose. And I thought it went very nice in this vase, and I have it right on my tea tray. I think it's fun to put on the tea tray a little bouquet in a little vase. It's a good way to use. See? Isn't that lovely? Oh my goodness, this is so heavy. It's German heavy china, Austrian German, but this is light. So I will pour out now. And I'm drinking wonderful black British tea. I just love this cup. I love the blues, the pinks, the yellows. If you can get a cup that has pink, blue, green, and yellow, that's a special cup. I notice in art, if they put a touch of yellow, Monet uses a lot of yellow. That's why his paintings are so beautiful. Oh my goodness, this is delicious. I told you I'm going to make the bunny cake. I haven't made it yet. But when I make it, I will take a picture and share with you the picture on the next tea table, because it probably won't last. Well, some of it will last, but oh yeah, it's the same on both sides. I'm hoping the light picks that up. I just think that is so beautiful. I have another one that, one cup of, that is the same kind of family from the Royal Albert collection. And it, let me turn this down just a touch. And some of this music goes up and down, but it is, I think it's called Spring Blossom. And I'll bring that cup on soon because it is absolutely so beautiful. I'm gonna get this. Okay, we'll just turn that down a little bit. And we'll have it just right. Yes. Well, have you been having a good week? Since I have last been with you, I have had so much going on. I went out with friends for my birthday on Friday. Wonderful friends that brought me these flowers and took me out. And then I had Saturday. I was with my Kenyans and they sang happy birthday in Kenyan to me. Beautiful people. And then we went to a beautiful memorial service. It was so beautiful. And a rainbow came out and saw many, many old friends. And they were so kind. I didn't expect it, but they knew it was my birthday, and I received many little special cards and little gifts and greetings, and it meant a lot. And then on Sunday, my kids, they took me out, and they said, "Mom, you're not cooking today," because I usually have a roast every Sunday or turkey or something. I make the Sunday dinner, and everyone is welcome to the Sunday dinner. It's an open invitation. So they said, "You're not doing that." And I said, "Oh, okay." Took me out and gave me some nice gifts. Well, then it continued on. And yesterday, when my dear friend took me out, and this is the Easter basket, friend. And I said, "That is over the top to get an Easter basket for my birthday." You know, think about giving your adult friends Easter baskets. It was so nice, so fun. I just loved it. Very sweet. I feel very blessed, and I know that when you have birthdays and your friends have birthdays, always give something little to your friends. It means so much. We forget how much it means, but if you can't see them, send them a card And I got 2 incredible cards on my birthday, which the Postal Service, one was from Connecticut. Dear Melanie from Connecticut, it gets here on my birthday. Another from Port Angeles, Squim area. God, they're on my birthday. I couldn't believe it because when you mail priority mail, I do a lot of mailing because I have so many kids that live far away. Priority mailing is the best way. It's a guarantee. It's a little more expensive, but if you're sending a package, it's actually less because it's just flat rate, and whatever you can stuff in the package wonderfully is then, included in the flat rate. So it's a good deal. But when you mail just a card to someone, I have found it can take days and days. You never know when it's going to get there. I live in Olympia, and I found out that my local Olympia postal station downtown, they don't sort the mail anymore. They send the mail up to Kent, which for people that don't live in this area, it's up by Seattle, to sort it. and then it will come back to Olympia even. So it's not going to be fast like it used to be. No. And one letter I went to mail, 68 cents a postage stamp. Always buy the forever, because then at least it's not going to raise up, right? Communication costs time, and it costs a little bit of resources, but it's worth it. It's so worth it to stay in touch and to have a handwritten note. And then I wrote my thank you notes, and that took a lot of time, and I realized, you know what? This is why people don't write thank yous, but it's worth it. It's important. We cannot lose these civilized methods, because a thank you note with your own handwriting really says something to the person. Especially with all the AI now and all of this, you know, who knows what kind of letter you're getting if it's typed out, but if it's in your penmanship, it's yours. And it means a lot to each person that receives it. I know it means a lot to me. Well, today is Maundy, Thursday, and I'm going to try to go to the service Maundy, Thursday. That's the foot washing, and it's the Last Supper when Jesus was with his disciples. Yes, and they had the Last Supper. And then tomorrow, of course, is Good Friday, and I want to go to a service. And then Saturday, some of the very traditional churches, Greek Orthodox, the Catholic, many Lutheran, some Presbyterian, they will have a vigil, the Easter Vigil. It is worth going if you have one near you. I attended one a few years back, and it was so beautiful. They literally read the scriptures, the whole story of Christ from Genesis, and all the way. They would read the passage, and then they would sing a hymn, or people would present a song, read the next passage, Exodus, the whole story of redemption. So rich, so biblical, so important this time of year. And the church year was set up by the apostolic fathers way back in the early centuries of if I say apostolic father, that means that church father or church minister knew an apostle. Like Polycarp, he studied under the Apostle John. Now, so you have the early church apostolic fathers, and they were forming the church calendar, and it was for the purpose so that people would always have the story of Christ's birth, which is Advent, Christmas, Epiphany. Lent is the life of Christ up to his Easter is his death and resurrection. And then there's 40 more days of Easter until Pentecost. Isn't that interesting? Which comes in May. And it gives a form, it gives a beauty, it gives an order to our worship. And an old, beautiful Anglican priest once told me, he said, one of the main reasons the church calendar was established was so people wouldn't get off track and just maybe get on one theme of the Bible and forget the whole thing. So it's to keep us on track for the children, the young adults, the families, the elderly, to keep the story of Christ fresh in our minds. Because we forget, don't we? We forget. Oh, yes. Well, this tea set, I dedicate this tea talk to all of you. Get out your best china for Easter dinner. It may be a hassle. If you have silver, get it out. If you have any stemware, get it out. Just put water in it, or juice, or whatever. Let the children in your life and the young people see beauty, and see a beautiful Sunday table for Easter. It will be worth it. Sit down as a family. I know it's hard. It's easy to do all the serving. Sometimes when we have a large group, we let each one go through with their plate, serve themselves, and then go sit at the table. If you don't want to do all of the serving, because we don't have servants, do we? No, our servants are each other. This has been so special to be with you today. I pray you all have a fabulous Easter. And then, the Easter egg hunt for the little children. They love that. Yes, they do. Our Easters are so cold always, because it's March, April, that you have to have a jacket. This is a good jacket, or the little coat. The little coat dress is very nice. And if you can find a hat and gloves, so much, so be it. And a matching purse. You know, in the olden days, what it was supposed to be, your shoes and purse were to match, and your hat and your gloves were to match. But of course, there's many variations, and we don't have to be so stuck in all the rules, but they're a nice guideline. Yes, they're a nice guideline. And I like to combine a little diamond jewel with my yellow because I think it brings the sparkle. And these are pearl clips actually, but they're white, they pick up. I wanted to go bright because we all wear so many dark colors in the winter, and Easter is the beginning of spring, summer. Traditionally, it was the first time women could wear in the season white shoes, white purse, white gloves, and white hat or straw hat. And we put the furs away and we take out the nice bright colors. I'll close with a fun story from the city of Chicago. My mother grew up in Chicago, and she lived there, and she lived during the Depression there, but she always had a job. She worked as a switchboard operator and downtown at Chicago. So she would go on the L. If any of you know, it's like the train that rides over the city, and it was a very, very unique invention to Chicago. I think L stood for elevator, up above. Instead of the subway, it was above, way above. And she would tell me about how Chicago, so cold and so windy, and then the spring would come, and it was so beautiful. And she said every Easter, she would wear black and white, navy and white, or brown and white. And she would get a dress and a hat, and she would get spectator shoes. Now, spectator shoes, some of you know what I'm talking about. They're the shoe that is part black and part white, or part brown, high heels and part white, and platform sometimes. In fact, I have her wedding shoes. I wore them in my wedding, and they were white satin, open-toed, platform heels. I'll bring and show them sometime on the Tea Talk when we talk about weddings. And so she always said she was a working girl, and she said the food in Chicago, and I've heard this from others, was unmatched. They would go to the counter, have their coffee and their donut, and go back to their work, and they were walking so much that everything was on foot, or that they would take the streetcar too. They had streetcar or that. People in the city didn't have cars, they didn't need them. They had public transportation. Everything was safe in those days. At Easter, I always think of my mother because she always told me how it meant so much to her to have her new dress, and we were always dressed with a new outfit, Easter shoes, Easter purse, Easter hat, Easter gloves, everything new, fresh. It represents new life, resurrection. It's symbolic to what Easter is: spring, flowers, color, beauty. So I encourage you this Easter, make sure that you have something new to wear, even if it's something small. And when I was little, all the ladies would wear corsages. People don't even do that anymore. And that was for Easter and Mother's Day, I remember. And if you see me sometimes working, I have a little clicker that is supposed to click on and off my camera. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And it's just like all things. I don't know if it needs a new battery, but we'll see if it'll work today. And here's the most beautiful Good Friday song, O Sacred Head Thou Wounded. And Johann Sebastian Bach, he used that, he harmonized that in so many of his cantatas. He used it many times. It's in our hymn books. Some people attribute it to be composed, the words, by Bernard of Clairvaux, who was an 11th century beautiful saint, one of my heroes. And Martin Luther loved him, and so Bach loved him. And this is so heartfelt. So go to church, to as many services as you can. Fill up with God's love, God's blessing. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time.